Now is as good a time as ever to start a blog, and I wanted to show you how to do that from scratch. Just simple ways and how to get your blog up and running in WordPress today. And so without further ado, let's get started. Okay, now first thing you're going to need if you want to take it seriously and you want the potential to make any money is you're going to need to have a domain and hosting. And so we'll start off if we go, and this is my affiliate link, which would, if you'd follow this, that would be really helpful because it will help. Go to stevebeal.com/SiteGround, and then that will take you through to SiteGround. Now, SiteGround is the hosting provider I recommend. I'll just accept those cookies. And basically, you can get a special price of $5.99 per month. You pay for the year. It'll be slightly different in your local currency, but all starting prices are that. And for that, you get one website. And you've got, 10 gigabytes is a huge amount for a website space. If you think you might want to do multiple, then you could go grow big. That's what I've got now, but I started off with this and you can always increase. So I'd recommend going for the startup, to be honest. And you get lots of stuff, but all we really need is this, okay? And the free SSL is very nice as well. You get email. But if I press get plan and then search for a domain. Now, mine's default to my local region.co.uk. I would recommend just clicking down here and go to .com if it doesn't already, depending on where you are, because still .coms, it's just that bit easier to remember. It's not that Google has any favors for them. It rolls off the tongue a bit easier. People will default to a .com rather than a .co.uk, etc. And it's more universal. And then simply choose your domain. If I tried to buy Google, or I put Google in there, you're going to see error. Okay, it doesn't work, obviously. So choose a domain that works for you. So let's say I wanted to put this in and proceed, and you will see a success message. Now, in my case, I bought this a few days ago, but either way, from there, if I just do this for an example, proceed, I'm not going to buy the .co.uk, and you will then simply enter your details and come down here, and from here I would go for yes, definitely 12 months, because you can see you get it at almost halfway. You get it at half price of what you would otherwise. So $5.99 at 12 months, you can see therefore becomes for me $71.88 excluding tax. Domain registration, I would go for that as well, leave that checked. And SG, SiteGround, Site Scanner, I don't use this personally, so up to you if you want that. I would say it's an optional extra. And you could just simply then press I confirm that I've read the above and press pay now, and you will have it. And I'll join you on the other side now. And it then takes us through to the My SiteGround section of the site. So again, if you got this cookie notice, just accept that, and we can get started setting up our website. So we're making real progress now. This is awesome. Let's keep going. Okay, brilliant. So now we are in to SiteGround and we're ready to get going. Now, the first thing you see, obviously this big option to set up site here, but if you're seeing this, verify your domain, definitely let's do this first, okay? And check your email and follow the instructions. So if I press view domain, see it says verification required, okay? So we need to get that done. Now they've sent me an email, so I'm going to open that email and I'll pause as I do that. Okay, so now in my email, I can see verification required. Please verify your domain names as soon as possible. So if I double click and open the email, and if I scroll down, you'll see this text, tells you about the domain and gives you the name. And it also says ICANN requires you verify your new contact information. Again, this is also standard legal stuff with the web. We just got to do it, okay? And you can read about ICANN's new policy here. And once you've done that, then you can click approve. And again, notice SiteGround are telling us, this will be suspended if we don't do it. So we've really got to do it. And if I scroll down, confirm that all the information you've given is correct, and then verify the information. Again, you can read the terms and conditions to be sure, but let's verify for now. And that's it. your data has been verified. But if you don't do it, your domain will be taken offline within a fortnight or 2 weeks. So make sure you get that done as soon as possible. Don't skip that step. And now that we've done that, let's go back to setting up our WordPress website in SiteGround. Now, something that's really helpful about SiteGround is their support, and they're really responsive, really good. But from this page, it's not that easy to see. So to open a support ticket or to speak to a SiteGround service agent, click the question mark up here. Now you can search for the knowledge base here, but if you go to View Help Center, you might want to bookmark this page. Just press Ctrl and D in your Google Chrome browser or Command and D on an Apple. And here you get lots more tutorials which can walk you through processes. There's the knowledge base, but I'd go to this one, Contact Us. And if you scroll down, then it gives you all the options that you can use to contact. So let's say you've got a question, technical, your site is down, and it takes you through. Okay, so they've already tagged it up here, so make sure you choose the right one. Could be WordPress. Scroll down, and then you can choose your site from the list here, so they know which site we're talking about. And now obviously you might want to give a bit more detail, but if I press submit, okay, they said I'm going to give more detail. Maybe I'll say, let's see if that's enough. And here, then you get the option, you can call them on a free phone number with almost no wait time, and you get a PIN, or you can go to a chat, and it tells you the wait time, and it's recommended 21 minutes. So if I press chat, then I get this to show me that I am waiting. Okay, so please hold to be connected with one of our trained specialists. And I know how long, so I can leave that run in the background and it will ping once it's there. But it's a really great thing with SiteGround. If you get lost or you get stuck with anything, they'll help you and they can fix things, as they've done for me in the past. Happens to all of us, so don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. Yet another great feature of SiteGround. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so let's click on Set Up Site. And we're going to go Start New Website, Install a New Application, and select. And let's scroll down, and we're simply going to press WordPress. And you'll log in. So use an existing email for this here and create a new password, as I'm going to do as I pause the video. And I just used the generate option here in SiteGround, which is quite nice. I've copied that. Remember to keep this somewhere safe as well for your records. And we'll press continue. Okay, we don't need SiteGround Site Scanner. It's not something we really need for now. So let's just finish and continue. And you can see it says it takes less than 2 minutes to complete the website creation. We are flying through this. Let's keep it rolling. Okay, great. You are all set and the website with domain has been set up. Now, we don't need to do this because we've bought our domain with SiteGround. So we're going to click Go to Site Tools, Manage Site now. So once we're in here, we're going to come down to WordPress and then click Install and Manage. And you see you have these options. Now from here, we can actually log into the admin panel in our WordPress website by clicking on this arrow icon. Okay, so now we're at the WordPress or SiteGround wizard stage, and we can simply press Start Now. And you can choose a design. What I would say here is don't get lost, okay? Probably the minimal blog is quite a nice simple one. I've not used it personally because these change all the time, but I would just go for something simple, because what you don't want to do right now is get lost in design. That's the last thing. You could just use the 2021 and that would be nice and straightforward. Let's try the minimal blog. Okay, and I'm going to deselect that because I don't really want any of these, and just continue. And you could have Google Analytics, but I will do that manually. I'll show you how to do that instead, because it comes with monster insights and we don't want all these extra things. However, I would go for this Yoast SEO plugin for reasons I'll explain later, but it's a nice free thing to have. And press complete. And just wait, and I'll pause as this happens. It shouldn't be more than a couple of minutes. Okay, so we've done that installation, and let's press View Site to see it. And this is all it is at the moment. Just got a couple of simple things. Sort of nice portfolio site setup. Very easy. And it has logged in. However, if you do ever need to log in, you know you're logged in because you've got this black bar across the top. Maybe I'll just log out to show you. you see, come here, just come to your domain and then /wp-login.php, and that will then give you your login. Now at this point, all we're doing is adding or using our admin credentials that we saved earlier. And just a quick tip, if you don't use it already, I would strongly recommend getting LastPass, this Google Chrome extension, to save your passwords, because it's much safer and much easier, and that's how I'll be saving this. And if I press login, then we'll go into our WordPress backend, quote unquote. And you see I just get the nudge from LastPass to save that, and I will add that so it's there for good. Now this has come through to Otter, which is part of that installation with the free theme we've used, the WordPress theme. We can just skip that for now, and we'll leave that as is. What I would next do is actually go over to your plugins, and let's have a look what we've got here. Now, talked about customizing your website. WordPress plugins are just tools that help you to do that. They're like apps for WordPress, if you like, and you've got all these things. WordPress Starter was the onboarding process we went through. Yoast SEO is really nice because it helps your website get recognized by Google. I don't particularly use it for keyword tools that it offers, but it has got some nice free tools there to help you get started in that respect. And you've got these other things that we've chosen to include from SiteGround. So we can just leave those as they are for now. And let's go straight over to our Yoast SEO tool to then start the Google process. Okay, so if I go to General, and Yoast does have a free option, but it's also got a pay option. I don't use the pay, I just use it for what I'm going to show you here. But the free tools are really good as well. So if I scroll down, you've got the premium option there, but we don't need that. Come to features, and we can leave these on. These are helpful for sure. And if we scroll down, let's check. Everything is good. Okay. The default settings are fine. And what Yoast is really helpful for is if you see this XML sitemaps, now don't be put off by the name, it sounds a little bit technical, it's really quite simple. It collates a list of all your pages and posts and put them into what's called a sitemap, so Google can then crawl that. So it's in a recognizable format for Google to go through it. So if I put my domain in and then put / and then sitemap.xml, and you will see that this is generated by Yoast SEO, and you've got posts and pages. Now pages are your more static content, you know, your about me, your contact forms, and posts are then your articles and your new content. And categories, any categories you add to any of those posts, maybe you do like tips or how-tos, that would then generate its own there. And if I click into that post sitemap, that is really where you will see all of your posts. Now these are generated from the theme I've installed, so I'm going to delete those in a moment. But what we're going to do, if I go back a page, we're going to shortly copy that and take it over to Google and give that to Google to submit it, so Google can actually find your content and people can search for it. And that is crucial. The reason why I use Yoast SEO for this is because even though there is a default sitemap, I've had problems with it in the past. It's done things that has meant Google can't find my site. So I would stick with that for now. So if I close that, I've got that on my clipboard. You saw there were lots of posts that I didn't want. So if I go to posts and view all posts, these are the posts that they've put in. And if I press the control or hold control and click on it, it opens in a new tab. And so this is basically how you can start your blog. You know, these are really nice, yeah, looking posts. That's an example. And you see up here when I'm logged in again, if I press edit post, then it takes me into edit, and we'll get into this shortly, but I can, you've got a walkthrough guide here which you can click through, but you've got your title at the top, and then you've got things like headers and paragraph text and so on. Now I'm going to come away from that, but just so you have an idea. So if I close that, I'm going to get rid of these. I mean, you might want to leave, let's say if I click the check all box, just leave that one so you've got something to work with. That's probably a good idea. But if I want to delete them, do that, and I move to trash and press apply. And this is the WordPress interface you want to start getting used to. You know, you can see who wrote it, categories, date published, and over here, these are your Yoast kind of scores that you'll start to see traffic lights for as well, depending on how Yoast values them for keywords and other aspects. And actually, before we go on from there, let's just have a look at how our blog is at the moment. So we can come up here and press Control and click. Again, opens in a new tab. I use Google Chrome. I really like it. And this was it at the moment. But if I come into blog posts, that's how the blog posts will look. And if I click on the title, then we get to see that blog post that we saw earlier. So, you've got a site now. This is done, right? We can actually just carry on. But as I said, if you want it to be found in Google, definitely continue and let's do all the other steps, because that's really useful. And also people can find it, right? The point of doing this is so you can be found, and let's continue on from here. But remember, we've already achieved that. We've got a website up and running. Pretty cool. So I've closed that. Now from here, if I go to my dashboard, that's the home of your WordPress, your WordPress dashboard, right? HQ. You've got, this is the SiteGround starter option. And if you ever want to get rid of this, you can just go back into the plugins, go to install plugins, and we could remove, WordPress starter, that's the name of it. You just remove that, okay? So if I just go back to the dashboard again, just to get you familiar, that's what we've got now. I'm going to remove it so you get to an idea of what WordPress looks like without it. Install plugins, and you can do this for removing any plugins. So check the box. This was WordPress starter. Deactivate it, and then you've got to check it again and delete it. So it's a two-step process. So you can't ever delete anything really on accident or by accident. And that is gone. Now if I go back to dashboard, you'll see it looks a bit different. And this is more the standard dashboard. If you want to get rid of any of these, you can cross this up here. Now this is from our free theme. We're in the Nev theme, and you can scroll down. You've got other WordPress options. You can minimize these, drag and drop. You can even start a quick post draft here, and you'll change that as you see fit. But for now, we're all good. But let's continue doing things to get it ready for Google. Okay, so if I come over here and go to settings and permalinks, again, this is might be a confusing name, but let's just check that this is right. So the permalink just refers to the part after your domain. What you can have here is basically, it can do it with dates, but you don't really want that because you want your content usually to look evergreen. And the best for SEO or search engine optimization in Google's eyes is post name. So make sure that is set to post name and change it if it is not. And if you did make any changes, simply save down the bottom. Fortunately, it's already post name here, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay, so there's a couple of things we want to do now to make our site really Google friendly. And the first is actually to go and get what's called an SSL certificate. And that sounds complicated. It just means that your site is secure in Google's eyes, and it's got an HTTPS at the start, not just HTTP. And that S, let's say, it stands for secure. So what I can do is go to plugins, and we will get the really simple SSL plugin. And this is the one, okay, 5 million plus. Install now. And when it's ready, then we'll press activate. And what happens is you would see your site. Now I'd done it before, but your site would go from saying not secure to having a padlock. And that's really important because Google promotes sites that are secure. It doesn't like insecure sites because of the ability for people to hack and take data. They don't actively promote them. So something that they're only going to get more serious about. So press go ahead and activate that. And you might need to refresh again, but no problem. And we'll just go through and just enable the one about the 301 redirect that they suggest. And otherwise we'll leave it at that. So what that's done now is actually given us that secure domain. So then we can go and add our Google tools to make our website visible to Google, but from that secure page. Because I've done it in the past and I've started on HTTP, submit to Google, it's caused me no end of problems. Further down the line, I can't tell you how frustrating, because Google thought they were two different sites and somehow thought I was copying one from the other, etc., etc. It's ridiculous really, but it did happen. So what we'll do from there, we'll go back and add another plugin, and this time we'll add Google's SiteKit plugin, which makes tracking, ads, everything really easy, search visibility, So if I just type in site kit as 2 words, don't be tempted to write as 1, think of like branding, and press install. And when that's ready, then hit activate. And from here, I'm going to opt into that, but I'm going to start the setup. And you do need a Google account to do this, so I would recommend getting one if you don't, because this is worth it alone. And I'm going to sign into mine. You don't actually need a Google email either. You can do it without if you're curious. And if I press allow, I've got to give them the access because then they read the data, etc. that is needed. Okay, so this is going fine. I'll press add site again to Search Console, which then shows you how it's doing in Google search engine rankings. So go to my dashboard. It takes us back and we've already connected our Search Console. That's great. What we can do then is add AdSense and Analytics and Page Speed Insights. Now if I do Page Speed Insights first, that's just a single click. That just gives you an idea of how fast your site is. Think of that like a supermarket in the sense that, you know, if you're waiting at the supermarket, you get frustrated. You might go elsewhere if there's a long queue, and they always open tills. They always want people to be served quickly. Same way Google, it rewards fast websites that load fast. And you could do things like not having too many plugins installed. They make your site heavy and very slow. But Google likes a fast site, and this will give you an idea if you're really slow or not as well in terms of load time or page load speed. And the key one here is Analytics. So if I click that, it gives you tracking data, see how many visitors and so on. And again, I'm going to press allow and allow. And I'll add my site there again and go to my dashboard. Okay, so it's a similar process. We're just setting this all up and I'll create a new property. You might have already used it. You can add a new one or you can add it to an existing account. It doesn't really matter. Just takes a moment to load here. Okay, and you can choose, there you go, there are existing, or I'll set up a new one and maybe I'll give it the same name as my domain, and everything else I'm happy with, so I'll press create account. And again I have to go through this. It's just a single process. We don't have to do this again, fortunately, just to get things set up. And then that will load on Analytics as we come through. And oh, actually I've got to accept the terms first. So if, read through, make sure you're happy, click it, etc. Read it, be sure to read it. I've done this before, but don't sign up for anything you're not happy with. Click the box down there. I'll leave the rest and press accept, or I accept. So Google Analytics is set up as well. And this is really nice because it gives you this dashboard view of everything that's going on. Now again, these take 48 hours to propagate through. We're not going to see any visits initially because we need to get Google to recognize our site over a period of months. Unavoidable, 6 to 9 months for any new website with lots of content and that is submitted to Google's index, but you will start to see it appear here. Now the last one, we can actually even start earning pretty quickly if I connect AdSense, Google's ad serving platform. Same process, just go through, allow and allow. And AdSense is just nice because they just put ads on your website, and for an early starter or first site, AdSense is really simple. There's other better ad networks which I can do follow-up videos on that earn more, but to get you started, AdSense is a great place. Okay, and I'll leave that as the default. Press continue. Add site to AdSense. So again, I've got to submit it to an AdSense account which connects to my Google account, all run by Google. URL is fine. And submit. And before we go from here, then if you scroll down, or rather if you press back and you scroll down, what you see is the sites you've got that are ready for AdSense. Now if you've already got some, fine, you can search here, or if you're like me, you can just press the down arrow to see more. And mine's at the bottom and it says getting ready. Okay, and it does say it can take up to 2 weeks, so you just got to wait that out and write content in the meantime is the way to go. And using that Project 24 method I mentioned, the income school course, that's really good for content strategy. Again, I've got a link to that below if you want to check it out. Very helpful. You'll always have something to write about. But from here, that's all good. If I close that and I press add site, and I've done that, I should also then press set up ads from here. And this gives me an overview of how the ads will look. Now at this point it's probably good if you've got any, because it will come in handy later to disable any ad blockers and refresh. I should have done that sooner really, but I've got an ad blocking Chrome extension. And this shows me first, I think in mobile, how ads would look on the site. And if I turn on auto ads, then they will place them automatically. So you've got one down here, one at the top. And it's just an idea. You won't see that exact ad because it's an example. And up here, we've got Google Ads as well. So if you're happy with those, apply to site. I'll just run an experiment to let it run in the background and it will tell me which ones work better, but you could just leave it as the default there. And that's all good to go. So if I go to home, job done, I can cross out of there, refresh this page, and you'll see it gives you a couple more things. Make sure you've enabled auto ads, which we've done, and verified that your site is marked as ready. Now it is getting ready, so we can't do any more. And just press continue, and that is all done. So our site is visible to Google. And okay, got it. Well, actually there's one more thing we should do before we leave. If I go to Search Console, I want to actually submit a site. So what I'll do, I'll come out of here and go to submit sitemap to Google Search Console. Fastest way to do it. And if you remember, you see Yoast has actually got the guide on this. We need that Yoast URL, or the Yoast sitemap. So what I can actually do is open a new tab and then go to Google Search Console. Let's just say log in. I want to log in. And from there, go to the hamburger menu in the top left, click the down arrow, and then choose your domain. Okay. Now I want to do it for this one, the HTTPS version. You see it's pushed through both. And come over to Sitemaps. And in a moment, let's put the sitemap URL in. So if you remember from earlier, we could do that through Yoast. Go back to the site. Go to Yoast SEO, that's the icon down here. And search appearance. So if we come back to the site, we go down to the Yoast icon here, go to General, and then Features. And you remember we had the XML sitemap. Simply click the question mark icon and you can see it. Okay, so see the XML sitemap, and we just need the last bit of it. Okay, so sitemap underscore index.xml, and we'll put that in. Okay, and submit. So then Google's going to have a very clear view of our site, everything on it. And there, it's done. It will say couldn't fetch. Don't worry about that. That's standard. It'll come back. And just to be sure, I'll also do the post sitemap XML, just to be 100% sure. I'll paste that in as well. And we'll submit that. Okay, and you see for some reason it's pushed through, but yep, all good. So Google knows our site exists. We're ready to rock. So if I cross out of that and that, back to the site and dashboard. Now from here, you probably want to change the layout, and I'm going to do that now with this theme. But again, remember, don't get too lost in your themes and your design. If I go to appearance and you could see customize, what we can do here is have a look. Go to layout and then go to homepage settings. And I would do this, your latest posts, because then it just keeps your content up front and it's nice and clear. And you see I can hover over and I can change the name. And at this point, you want to write the name of your site as it matches the domain. And you can put a tagline, okay? as well if you want, or you can leave that empty and simply press publish, and there your site is ready. Let's just pause the moment, but it's already published. Okay, so if I leave and I just cross that, then everything is good to go. So from here, there's a few different ways you can go, right? I would recommend getting familiar with the WordPress Gutenberg editor in the posts area. So if you went into posts, and you could look at the one we left as an example, or just add new. And I've got a video dedicated to that I can link to you here that you can check out, help you write really fast content. You know, you do need a bit of learning, but what I like to do actually is write in Google Docs, again shown in my video on this, and paste it in because it's nice and easy. The formatting comes across perfectly. However, if I come back out of that, I can cross this to get rid of that from my dashboard, and I can dismiss that, and I'm actually good to go. But however, if you want to check out the theme I recommend, which is actually pay for, again, it comes bundled with the Project 24 course, so you get it included. It's worth $99, but it's unlimited amount of sites. It's the fastest theme on WordPress, really simple and clean. It's called Acabado, which is Spanish for finished, and it's because it comes ready to use, basically. I've got another video on customizing that theme here as well, so check that out. You can see it on the screen. You can see it in the links down below this video, and if you found it useful, remember to like and subscribe as well. Now that's just got us started, but you know, remember to have a look at your site. Let's plug it in just to see how it looks in Google. Maybe better to go to an incognito version to see it real. And we've just got that one page, but it's all nice and clear. And what we can do as well when we're logged in, if you remember the about page and so on, we can click on these pages and actually then edit the page. So that would be recommended. Google sees that as a strong sign of you being a real person as well. So go and write a good about me section and get that all working, and you should be off to a flying start. And as I said, any content ideas and strategy, definitely check out Project 24. Really helpful. I honestly had writer's block so many times before, but from here you are ready. Okay, you've got a website that's up and running and you are good to go. Now it's time just to add that content and do it specifically. So I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in another video soon.